Stories, possible worlds created by the power of imagination and the cornerstone of any successful film. Well-crafted narratives that open up doors to new worlds presented by the storytellers. But how do great stories form? Out of strong imagination? By having lots of nuances? Well, there is one way to understand that. We should break a story down into its components to see what the mystery behind it is. So, let us walk through the process step by step. As a writer, the first thing that happens to you is an idea popping up to your mind in different forms and situations. You might be inspired by seeing something in real life, like an old lady in a train, or reading something interesting in a book, picturing it, and think it's something that is worth being a film. But whatever it is, it doesn't have to be complicated. Even if you have only a picture as your film idea, you can use it as a clue to develop the whole film. Now that you have an idea, you need to create a world for it. It can be entirely different, like the world of Harry Potter, or something completely natural, like a train or a neighborhood. In some cases, you might have to think about some elements of the world building, like the culture, politics, or the environment, to make a world that matches the story and the characters. Think about the world of Avatar, or The Lord of the Rings. These worlds are so well designed that even a language has been developed for them. The characters of your film are somehow the most important parts of your story because they walk the audience through the ups and downs. Creating a character has so many layers and considerations that sometimes takes the most of the time of a writer before even starting to write any line for the script. The characters you design should have multiple layers, such as the background, the mental condition, points of emotional depth, and different conflicts to have enough depth to engage the audience and create a sense of identification around it. Now that you have your world and its characters, it's time to say what's gonna happen there. Of course, you had some thoughts about the incidents of the story in the idea step, but it has to be developed into a complete story. One that has chronological order with a specific beginning and ending time. Remember that in your story, everything that matters should be mentioned in some way. The story that builds your script should be so clear that people can enjoy the story only by reading the script. So apart from the beauty of the image and sound, your story alone should be very amusing. The difference between plot and story is that in plot you choose which incident to tell first and in what order and tone. Also, you choose from which character's perspective you are going to tell the story and where you want to switch to another character's point of view. Take Inception as an example. If it was a real-life story, the first thing that happened was the death of Mal, Cobb's wife, and then you would notice that she committed suicide because of the idea that was planted inside her mind, and then the rest of the story. Whereas in the plot of Inception, it is the last thing you notice in the film, although it's happened in the past. So it is you who creatively design the order of the incidents in the film. We've seen in many films that an accident becomes unfolded little by little from the past. So the best thing to do when designing a plot is to look through your story. Then decide from which point you want to enter your story. This method is called nonlinear storytelling, and if used creatively, it can add a lot to your story. Then you can put your plot into the classic plot structure, one that contains exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. If we consider characters in action narrators of your story, the dialogues are the tools to run the story forward and give enough clues to understand the story. So when you're writing a line for a character, think about the effect it has in telling the story. You should also pay attention to the form of dialogues in relation to each other. Your dialogues should have a relationship like a ping pong game. Every dialogue causes the other dialogue and unfolds something about a character or an incident. Now we know that storytelling is quite a journey on its own. The one who tells a story should be the one who has spent a lot of time in it. So, discover every bit of it and experience everything in your world.